Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 meeting of the Norton Planning Board. The public is welcome to participate in person or remotely. We are here in person at the Norton Town Hall at 72 East Main Street in the Crane Room, and you may also join via the Zoom link as provided in the agenda. Please feel free to email questions to the board ahead of this meeting, addressed to town staff as listed in the agenda. I will call this meeting to order. We have 7 members tonight in person for the first time in a long time. I would like to welcome Frank Hearns to the board. Thank you very much for stepping up.
Thank you.
Really need the help. Brian, would you like to pass down whatever bills you have? And we'll talk about some minutes after. We're going to take something out of order at first. First item will be the covenant release for the Birch Lane Extension Definitive Plan 1. We have to get this notarized while we're all in person, so we're going to take care of that quickly. Is there anything you want to?
Yeah, so thank you. As you might recall, earlier this year you approved a 2-lot subdivision for duplexes on Birch Lane. There was a covenant to ensure they didn't move forward until they've completed the water, sewer, and road work. I have confirmation from both the superintendents from water and sewer and the highway department saying its work is complete, so the applicant has asked if they can release those lots. So that's what this covenant is. And behind me is Megan Harrop, who is a notary and also the Conservation Commission's administrative assistant. So she's kindly come over here, and I promised her we'd get her out quickly.
Want to talk about sports?
Not at all. I'm gonna sign that. I'll look at your ID.
Thank you. And yes, please get your IDs out.
Where do I go? Right here?
Yes. Same. I just want to put your signature here for me.
You good?
Yeah, no problem. Okay, not branding.
Right here.
Yep, just do the same thing I did.
Full name, signature.
Full name, you need my full legal name, right?
Yeah.
That
Rob
could-
Welsh.
Okay, good.
I know.
Robert Harrington Welsh Jr.
These are bills. Just look at them. If you have any questions.
The middle
let
is?
us know.
No, too short.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
I'm never going to give you a long name. Just a good short
If you ever,
name.
if you ever have kids, it's a really considerate thing. We're calling you Joe Bob.
Works well on many parts of the South.
Thank you very much.
We're switching around Bob Joe. Jim Joe.
Full name here and signature here.
Get a lot of JPs,
Yes,
Do you have an ID?
especially in Louisiana.
He wasn't on the
Yeah, he wasn't on the
okay.
board.
yes. Well, in Louisiana, a lot of them are specifically.
No,
I'm sure Paul said it, but thank you again for being the notary for us tonight.
Of course. Thank you.
I think we have to talk about planning board business now.
Full name here and signature here. Full name here.
You on noticing are you
Yeah,
Okay, it's not showing up.
I disabled audio entirely
Oh, okay.
and video, actually. What's the best way to present?
Okay, thank you so much.
If I don't, I have to mute it in like 6 places, or it sounds like it did there.
Thank you, Megan. You're very welcome. I'll just finish it over.
Okay. Thanks, Megan.
Welcome.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is special permit SP 32 for 376 Old Colony Road. The owner is Divine 5 Properties, Stephen LaCivita. The applicant is Urvi Patel. The applicant seeks approval for an electronic message center. Good evening.
Good evening, guys. How are you?
Very good yourself.
Good, good. So it's basically for more visibility purpose. that I'm
If
trying to
you could get the microphone just a little higher. so-
Okay. So it's basically for the visibility purpose. This liquor store has been open now for almost we actually just finished 1 year over there. And we think like the digital sign would definitely help us, because if you see all these trees behind, and the speed limit on that road is about 30. So people can't see there's a liquor store until all the way they're there. But if we put this digital sign on top of it, we would get a further visibility that would help the business.
Any members of the board have any questions?
And
And if while we're doing that, I'm going to have Paul pull up our criteria for approving this.
Mr. Chair, just real quick, when you say that is that lit internally or is that with spotlights on it? The way that was.
Which one?
When you, the sign was lit, the one we just looked at, is that like there's lights shining on it or is it lit, one of those ones that's lit?
No, it's
internally?
just a message board. So when like if we are putting a product on sale or anything, if we
Oh,
put that,
okay.
it's just gonna say, let's say Tito's 175 $29.99. That's it.
So it's just where it says 2x6 digital
Yes,
sign,
that's it,
And
that's
the rest
it.
of that's already there?
Yeah, it's already there. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Good, Tim?
this is this a permit to correct the sign that's already there, correct?
Yeah, we are just adding on top of it. That's it.
I mean, there's already an electronic sign at
Yes.
the location.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yep.
And you're aware of the guidelines about animations and all that stuff?
Yes, sir.
So these are our criteria for approving a electronic message center, and these will be word for word in our approval. If it,
Okay.
any other questions, comments, concern for the board right now? Is there anyone on Zoom or in person that wishes to speak about this project? If you're on Zoom, please raise your hand and we'll try to recognize you. I don't see anyone on Zoom. I don't see anyone rushing up to the microphone in person. Any other questions from the board, comments for the board, or pleasure of the board? Tim?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve the sign with a.
Rob, does that motion include our conditions?
Yes, yeah, that's what I was trying to mutter.
Our standard conditions and our standards for electronic message centers.
Correct. What we have it here.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Thank you, guys.
All set. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Next item on the agenda is special permit SP 33 and site plan approval SPR 18 for 61 West Main Street. The owner applicant is Corvo Properties. The applicant seeks approval for a 4-story top of the shop building and rebuilding existing food and beverage retail store. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Jeff Jacoby, 144 Bank Street, representing the applicant. As you said, this is a property at 61 West Main Street. It's where the Honeydew Donuts is now, and the proposal is to redevelop it. And Paul maybe could bring up a plan for us. So this is a top-of-the-shop development, which is a by right use in the Village Center Core District. The development has parking underneath on the first floor. It has 3 floors above that of residential. There's about 4,400 square feet at the front, which is the proposed retail. One of the things that I'd point out to you is that in this district, 4 stories are allowed by right with a maximum height of 60 feet. This building is 45.5 feet. Of the 39 residential units, 21 are 1-bedrooms, 18 are 2-bedrooms. We have applied for site plan review and 2 special permits. The reason we need 2 special permits is that your 10% affordability requirement requires a special permit. I'm not sure why, but it does. And so, therefore, 4 of the units will have to meet the affordability requirements. In addition to that, in the Water Resource Protection District, which this property is in, we are only allowed 15% lot coverage, and we are proposing to go to 32.7% lot coverage. There is one issue that I spoke to the building inspector about today that I wanted to bring to your attention, which is that the drive-through for the Honeydew is not allowed in this district anymore. It is a pre-existing lawful non-conforming use. We are proposing to take down the Honeydew building, which is right smack dab in the middle of the property, and to move it to the left edge of the property. And I'm going to have the engineer talk about some tweaks we've made to the plan as a result of looking at that again. But I spoke to the building inspector today because 175.1.5E seems to say that a non-conforming use can be changed, extended, or altered only upon a finding by the permit granting authority that it's not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use. And the Zoning Board of Appeals is that permit granting authority. But the section that immediately follows it, F, says a non-conforming use may be expanded in size or scope of the activity within confines of the lot used therefore, and to the extent permitted by the dimensional requirements for the district in which such non-conforming use is located. So there seems to be a conflict between those two sections. And so in speaking with Mr. Bailey today, he said to me, he said, it seems to me that F is what applies and that site plan review covers this situation because we're just proposing to move it within the site. The building will actually be slightly smaller, but we are not changing the principal use, which is the Honeydew Donuts. We are not changing the non-conforming use, which is the drive-through. The alteration is to make it smaller, so we're not extending it. So he said to me, why don't you ask the planning board what their view is of that? Because if you believe that it's within your jurisdiction, which I do and he does, then we would not have to file by Christmas Eve with the zoning board and have a hearing in the middle of January concerning this property. So before we go any further on anything else, I was hoping we could get some feedback from the board as to your pleasure in trying to interpret the bylaw.
Paul, do you want to just inform us in your conversations with Mr. Bailey?
Sure. And, I'll first confirm what Jack was just saying, but I've been talking with Ed on this and with the applicant, Mr. Rosito, because we knew that the drive-through, if this were a new proposal, it would not be allowed. But this is a non-conforming use. It's still active. And we looked at this. We had this, we looked at E, and that clearly says, go to the ZBA. F doesn't indicate where it goes. And our thought was, let you all decide. Are you comfortable making this as part of the decision here, or do you want to defer it to the Zoning Board of Appeals? As Ed and I talked, we kept saying this is an analogy. It's like pass interference in football, modern football, where you just go, really, is this a
Ticky-tack.
Yeah, it's a ticky-tack call. As we see it, it's just they're not making the conformity more non-conforming. It's just relocating it, which we believe both provisions E and F allow for.
I'll chime in. Yeah, as far as I see it, I think the key phrase here is substantially more detrimental, which I don't think it is.
Nope. Right.
So therefore wouldn't need to go to the ZBA. I think the alteration or even expansion in size or scope is covered by F. So yeah, I don't think it's not a non-conform. I mean, it's non-conforming, but it's continued. It's not abandoned.
Right. It's
So-
not, that was our thought,
Yeah.
but we just felt it was important for you all to make that call.
No, as
We
far as
didn't want to make that unilaterally.
Mr. Chairman, could I
Yes, Rob?
add? Yeah, I actually, because I see how popular and how that drive-through gets used by the town and everything, I would almost argue it would be detrimental to take it away from, a lot of people would be upset at losing it. No,
Thank you.
Well, no, I'm just giving an honest opinion, but, yeah.
Tim?
I'll be the devil's advocate here. Just Mr. Jacoby, is the fact that this incongruity could potentially give an abutter or somebody with grounds potential standing to say that we didn't follow proper procedure in this? Is that something that the applicant is comfortable with?
We are. One procedure that I could follow, if you required me to, is I could write a letter and request a ruling from the building inspector in writing, which I know what his ruling would be, was that it's within your jurisdiction under F. If that was the case, then someone would have to appeal that to the Zoning Board of Appeals. But we thought that given the ambiguity here and the building inspector's ruling, that we were comfortable with going forward with site plan review by you to determine the layout of this property.
Do we have any other questions from the board members? If not,
Mr. Chairman, so can we, do we have the ability to settle this here? If we approve this tonight, is that?
what I want to do next is, as long as we get all of our questions out regarding this exact subject, we'll take a vote on it.
Okay.
Just on this, just on whether we believe
So it
it's
will be a straw vote on
correct.
whether you believed it was within your jurisdiction.
Correct. Any other questions from the board? So the chair would be looking for a vote, verbal vote on whether we believe we should send this to the zoning board for a finding under 1.6E, or can we find that applying under F, a non-conforming use may be expanded in size or scope of the activity within confines of the lot to the extent permitted by the dimensional requirements for the district in which such non-conforming use is located. I'm fine with going forward under F. Rob?
I'm fine with going forward under F.
Tim?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Bridget?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Steve?
I'm comfortable.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm good with F.
Thank you. So we will not apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we will stay here.
Yeah.
Just because I'm trying not to steal my engineer and architect's thunder, I'll let them come up. There are a number of issues that Paul raised in a memo to us, and that we want to, some of them we can address tonight, some of them we'll have to address at the next meeting. But we do have things like elevations and building materials and other things that we can show you. We are in front of the Conservation Commission. That is, they didn't have a meeting last week, so their next meeting is until January 12th. And they are looking at the notice of intent because there's some wetlands at the back end of the property and also the stormwater. I understand that they're fairly comfortable with moving forward, but they wanted to make sure that this board didn't require any changes to the plan that would impact what they're analyzing. So just wanted you to be aware of the fact that we'll need to continue this, and maybe your next meeting or your second next meeting, depending on what the schedule is, just to make sure that we're all operating from the same set of plans.
So it'll be either January 6th or January 20th, the next two.
And I'm thinking that maybe we should look at the 20th because the conservation, well, maybe we should come back on the 6th with answers to the other questions, and then we can tell the Conservation Commission how much progress we've made with you. So I'm going to suggest the 6th.
And Paul, how are we looking for the 6th?
Getting busy. Wheaton Place is tentatively scheduled. That's the 21-unit subdivision.
Yeah.
Abreu Lane, Zero Sturdy, and then Zero Mansfield is coming back that night too.
Zero Mansfield. my project. Because we haven't been to the Conservation Commission yet, the only thing we were going to come in to talk to you about was if we had made progress with the sewer commissioners. And I emailed our engineer on that today, and they're hoping to meet with them next week. So if we have something to tell you, we will, but we may well be asking for that one to be continued to the 20th simply because we haven't had a chance to get with conservation yet. And of course, one of the big issues was the location of the parking area in front of the building or behind it. So that's an update on that one.
So you'll prefer the 6th for now when we get to it?
I prefer the 6th for this one, and I'm thinking that we may have a brief presentation on the other one on the 6th, but we may end up going over to the 20th, depending on what progress we make with the sewer commissioners.
Very good.
So I'm going to sit down at this point, and I'm going to ask Eric to come up, introduce himself, and to take you through the project and show you what he has designed, including our thoughts on the drive-through for the Honeydew.
Yes, yes. Good evening, everyone. For the record, Eric Dias, registered professional engineer with Strong Point Engineering. I won't say that Jack stole my thunder, but I will say he did a good part of my job for me tonight, so I do appreciate that. Thank you. Paul, if we can bring that plan back up, that would be great.
Oh, just like.
Great, thank you. Can you scroll, just pan up a little bit?
Oh.
Well, while we're doing that, yeah, perfect. So while we're doing that, obviously, this is sort of an introductory meeting, and as Jack said, we do have a few items that we need to kind of button up regarding Paul's review letter and things like that. So I'll keep this sort of high level for the time being. As you can see, obviously, this is the site of the existing Honeydew Donuts, with which you are all very familiar. The buildable area of the site is really kind of defined by the existence of wetland resource areas to the left side of the site and Page North and Route 123 on Page South. So that really kind of defines where we are. As Jack said, we are in front of the Conservation Commission right now. The project has been thoroughly reviewed by Pat Brennan on their behalf, and we have a clean bill of health from Pat. Jack is right. The Conservation Commission is generally very happy with the project, but as they always are, they're cautious, and they want to make sure that they're approving the same thing that you folks are. So we've continued until that point. One of the things that I wanted to highlight in particular is the groundwater protection overlay district, the special permit that's required. So as you know, any development that renders more than 15% of the lot is to be impervious surface requires a special permit. In this case, the existing site is at 26.2% impervious. So it's already over that threshold. We're proposing to increase to 32.7% impervious, which is, if you do the math, that's 6.5% more impervious than what is there now. A good portion of our newly proposed impervious area is coming from rooftop, when the good news is that rooftop is generally clean. The other point to make in this case is that the existing site, stormwater management consists solely of a series of, I think it's either 5 or 6 infiltrating catch basins. The runoff enters the catch basin, goes straight into the ground. It's all well and good, but it doesn't provide for any water quality treatment. When we're talking about a groundwater protection district, we generally want to make sure that the water that's getting there is clean. So what we proposed from a stormwater perspective far eclipses the state and local standard requirements for peak rate attenuation of stormwater, groundwater recharge, and groundwater quality. So it means we're getting a lot more clean water into the ground, A, than what goes there now, and B, even more than what the standards require us to do. So that's just a positive note about the special permit requirements. I think any way that you slice it from that point of view, you can look at this design from a stormwater perspective as a betterment to the site. Aside from that, all of the things that Jack said are correct. We're relocating the Honeydew Donuts. We have ground level parking within the building. Our parking study is still being finalized, but after consultation with our traffic engineers, we've modeled our traffic count after what is required in your MBTA overlay district. And we came up with a requirement for a total of 83 parking stalls, and that's what we provided. Preliminary conversation with our traffic team suggested that's adequate, if not more than adequate, so we don't anticipate any significant changes in that regard. Obviously, as well, this is a DOT-owned road, so curb cuts and things of that nature, they will have the final say. Just one other note on the drive-through and the general layout is that you'll see on that plan in front of you is sort of a red line markup of the driveway, the drive-through lane around the Honeydew. We kind of took a look at this yesterday, and as we were preparing for this meeting, and I think we all agreed that having the drive-through lane at an angle to the building was a little awkward, so we just squared that up. And that's something that we will formalize and incorporate into the plans moving forward. Aside from that, we provided a full landscape plan. We did provide a full lighting plan that is compliant with all of the lighting standards of the town. It is dark sky compliant, 0-foot candles at the property line, LED, village-style lighting mounted at 16-foot height. So those are really the finer points of the site plan at this point. I can either, and Mr. Chairman, I'll go your direction. I'm glad to either turn it over to Tony Donato, who is our architect, or I can field any site-related questions now, whatever your preference is.
Yeah, we'll get some site questions out right
Sure.
now. Could we just, Paul, for everyone watching, it's kind of hard to see on the screen, and I believe you can see it on the plan. It shows the existing location of Honeydew. Paul, I don't know if you could just put your cursor around it, just so anyone online could kind of see where the existing Honeydew building is.
Yeah, it's sort of,
It's kind of really light on that plan, but you can see it. We can see it on Zoom. I can see it, but so just so everyone knows, in the existing curb cuts, are they remaining or are they moving, or how does that line up?
so they're going to be shifted slightly. As it shows right now, what I'll call the main curb cut coming into the site is going to be shifted to page left by, say, 25 feet from the center. The second curb cut is exit only for the drive-through. That is also shifted to page left by probably 20 feet, but that one is also narrowed. It's pretty wide in the existing condition, and we've got it at 12 feet coming out.
So that's a single lane drive-through.
That's a single lane drive-through, that's correct. We did think about an escape route, which is oftentimes what people talk about on drive-throughs. If you're queuing into the drive-through, you basically have until you get to the order board before you're committed in this case. So if you look on the plan between, right where the 12-foot dimension is, right by the kind of patio, is where the order board would sit. So you're not committed until you get to that order board. And from a retailer perspective, once you order, they don't really want you pulling out anyway.
We just got to, sure. Could you go to the microphone so they can hear you online,
You
please?
came up just short of the order board, and you said, oh my God, there's 8 cars in line, I don't want to be in this line. You can simply take a right-hand turn and go up and go around that center area and get back out from the main entrance. So we looked at that and said, rather than trying to make an escape lane in where the drive-through is, you have a choice to make, which is when you get within a car or two of the order board, you can take a right and a right and a right and go straight out.
I have a question in my notes, and I didn't go back and look. Has the fire department signed off on this design?
Not yet. They've recently sent over their truck specs and asked us to run the truck turning analysis. We've taken a preliminary look at it. We don't have concerns. We just need to finalize it.
So we'll just need something, at least in our system, they sign off on that before
Yes, absolutely.
That checks off my few questions. I'll go to the other members of the board for questions.
Didn't I hear that Paul had put forth a number of questions that got answered as well?
Paul supplies a,
Memo.
that we all get a memo.
Oh,
And
okay.
they usually do pre-meeting hearings between
Okay.
several members of town staff, so they address all ticky-tack questions before we even see it, is the goal.
So these will be in the documents I already read. There's not something new.
Correct.
They're in there right now.
Yes.
Good.
Questions from the board? Yes, Frank?
Does the garage require a gas and oil water separator?
It will, yes, and that will connect to the municipal sewer system.
How often is that going to be maintained?
In the operations and maintenance plan, I believe we call those is to be inspected quarterly, but certainly they're equipped with floats and things like that too. If there's an issue, there's an alarm that will sound and tell them what needs to be done.
So it's a tight tank, or is it going to the sewer?
It'll go to a sewer, but if it backs up beyond a certain point, we get notified about it. If it's in danger of an imminent overflow or something like that.
And that's all governed by plumbing code. That's nothing governed by our code.
That is correct, yes.
It's all plumbing code. Bridget, thought you were going to say something.
I was thinking about it.
Steve, before
Yeah.
you want to get your thought? Steve,
Specific to the site plan or overall about the project?
let's go specific to the site plan so we can see the rest of the project first.
I'm good for now.
Thank you.
Maybe about the parking. The parking, so there's 83 spots that you're providing. That's what I'm reading, right?
That is correct,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Couple things that have come up previously. Do we have any EV spots dedicated, called out?
That was actually one of Paul's comments. We have not identified them yet, but we discussed that yesterday. We'll be adding those to
For the next plan.
Yes.
Do we have snow storage labeled on this plan?
So, loaded question. We have snow storage shown in those hatched areas that you see for example, in the middle of the landscape island. I just neglected to actually label them. So they're there. I just need to add a label.
I'm sure Concom will be appreciative.
Yeah, they will. That one's on me.
Any other, Tim?
You mentioned the updating, also updating stormwater management in the existing site. Obviously, Pat Brennan looked at it, but from how much of the old system is kind of remaining, how much is being ripped, replaced, brand new?
The entirety of the old system is coming out. Everything
Okay.
is going to be brand new.
Okay. Changing gears entirely on that for you, but still for you. The curb cuts, you said they're going through DOT.
Yes.
Is that something that we're trying to align with the properties across the street?
As much as we can, DOT does prefer that. So a couple of things we're trying to do is not, A, align with the properties across the street, but B, not really change them any more than we have to from the existing traffic patterns. So we will be, addressing that. One thing, as I'm sure you know with DOT, is that we cannot actually apply to them until we are fully approved by the town, which can sometimes be problematic, but we do what we can to minimize that.
We cannot change the state as much as we.
And Tim, just to interrupt you for a second. Paul, you've had meetings with the school department. Do you want to talk about any of those?
Right. In fact, last week, Anthony and I sat down with a couple reps from the school department for them to talk about the traffic issues and the alignment of the driveway. So they presented, the issues just like they did with 77 West Main, the peak hours in the morning and afternoon. So that'll be reflected in an upcoming traffic study, which we also then will have to get a peer reviewer to look at.
Okay. And I had two more here. Paul, I guess one of the questions that was, I think, brought up by both Mr. Jacoby and the engineer here was talking about the impervious coverage compared to what's required under the special permit. Is 32% or 33%, I forget off the top of my head, is that in line with other things that we've done in this water resource zone, or is that
Oh, it's probably less than in some areas where it's entirely.
in terms of like newer permits, not necessarily stuff that's been there forever, because we can't.
I would say it's in line, certainly with the recent approvals at 10 and 77 West Main.
Okay.
And
Well, in fact, 77 or 10 West Main was a reduction because it was almost 100% impervious. So it's a little less than that, but yeah, this is in line with it. I mean, the good thing about this type of development, when you have top of the shop, is it's vertical rather than horizontal. So you're actually reducing the impervious. You have the ability to reduce the impervious cover.
Okay.
And yeah, this one is currently a little bit less than what they're proposing.
Okay.
And just one, if I may just add to that. So the general criteria when looking at these type of things is all about, can you get the water back in the ground and can you clean it? Right? Because it's in the water protection overlay district, we don't want to starve the aquifer and we don't want to pollute the aquifer. So it's a much more subjective bar than some other special permits typically are.
Is it a zone 3? No,
Zone
zone
two.
3. Zone 2?
I believe.
3. No, it's zone
it
3.
three?
It's 3.
3, excuse me.
3, which feeds into the area that feeds into the well. Yes.
And for whatever it's worth, if we weren't in this overlay district, the requirement would be 75% lot coverage. So we're significantly less than that requirement.
Yeah. And the only thing I had in my notes here, I don't know if we just had an electronic message center special permit before you. Is that something that you have planned for the site? Is that something that if you were looking to do, we would do concurrently?
I don't think that that's something that we've really discussed at this point. Certainly something that we can look at, and if there's an imminent plan, we can add it to this application, and if not, we'll have to come back if it comes up.
Not that we don't like seeing you.
Sure. We like to be efficient, though.
I'm Anthony Rosito, I'm the applicant. I'd rather not do an electronic sign, but I'm going to talk to the franchisee, see what they say. I'm not a big fan of them, so we'll see.
That's fine.
You have residents there, they won't like it.
Yeah, that's the.
Rob, did you have a question?
I did. Could you scroll up so I can see the rest of the parking?
Scroll up.
I just want to see
Okay.
what it is. I thought they said 80 spaces, and this doesn't look like 80 to me.
There's some underneath the building, I think.
There's
David.
approximately 26, I think, under the building.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Okay.
Yes. And the way that this program typically works is that the stalls in the building will be reserved for tenants. You see that kind of dog leg off to the back there. That will likely be reserved for tenants. And then, we try to keep the tenant spaces out of the area of the other people who may be using commercial.
Fair enough. The answer was there was more spaces than I was
Sure.
thinking. Yep.
It's something we've been talking about more and more. Has been a spot, is there a spot dedicated to delivery, short-term delivery? Not necessarily Amazon or anything that they would use, but food delivery, et cetera, at the front of the building. Do we have anything dedicated for that?
Like a DoorDash.
Sure. In fact, that was one of Paul's comments, and we had discussed that yesterday. We're going to dedicate a space right at if you see where the main building is, where it says stair elevator, on the side that doesn't have the handicap parking, we're going to dedicate a space over there for that.
Right.
With signage, Uber, 10-minute maximum
short-term.
parking or something like that, yeah.
Do we have any other site plan related questions from the board? If not, we will continue with their presentation.
Okay.
We're good with the site for now.
All right. I'm going to turn it over to the project architect, Tony Donato.
Hi, for the record, my name is Tony Donato with AD Architect, and I'm the architect for this project. Very simply, the project is predominantly residential with a retail component, street-facing retail component. It's what's called podium construction. We're assuming that it's going to be standard wood frame construction over a podium, a concrete and steel base. We've got a total of 39 units, a nearly 50-50 blend of 1 and 2 bedrooms. I believe there's 18 2-beds and 21 1-beds. Of course, we will have the required ADA accessible units as well. And there are some affordability requirements as well. We will meet those. So regarding the building itself, I don't know if you want to call up either the floor plans and we can get a general idea of the floor plans.
Oh,
Should be.
the floor
Do
plans.
we not
Okay.
have a floor plan?
Let me
Well-
s-
That's okay. We can
Okay.
skip over to the materials and exterior.
Okay.
That's fine.
I can look for it.
So this is a representation of what the exterior of the building would look like. In this particular case, it is only 3 stories, and the parking is below from this particular view. This is not exactly our project, but it is we're using it as a very similar example. Same sort of materials. It's a combination of cement fiber siding in 3 different colors. We've got a lot of variation of the roofs. We've got exterior porches for each of the units. And at the retail base, we have a brick water table throughout the building setting the base. And then we call out the retail and entrance areas with more brick and composite panel to try and give more emphasis to those retail and ground floor spaces. And like I said, we're using a combination of different colors on the siding, different exposures on the siding, different textures to just kind of give some variety to the extent of the building. And again, although this is not exactly a rendering of our project, it is a very similar concept. We've developed a couple of these now, and we like to work with what works and build on it and refine it.
We do have the architectural.
Oh, okay, sure.
The floor
Great.
plan, sorry.
No problem. No problem. So the area that you see in pink, if you pan the drawing up a little bit, that is the ground floor retail. Sorry, the other way. Down, pan down. So the retail is street facing, and the yellow would be circulation space. So we have the entrance to the residential, and then the parking garage entrance is a little further up on the lot. So we're really wrapping the front of this building, the street facing portion of this building is going to be very pedestrian oriented and retail oriented. And then as you move up into the building, it's really just circulation, stair cores, some common area, and then the units which wrap the building. We have units facing in all directions so that we're getting windowing in all directions and really interest to the building on all sides. So I think that's pretty much it. If there are any questions on the architecture. What's that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. You said you want to talk about the site lighting? Yeah.
Yeah, and also we should
There's
bring
no
up the
building
landscaping
uplighting,
plan we
just in
didn't touch
case.
on.
Yeah.
Paul, if you have the full, I think the lighting plan is its own drawing,
Yep,
but the
I've got
landscaping
it.
plan is in the set. Okay, so that is the lighting plan for the site. I think really the big takeaway from this is you can see the models of the village style headlamps that we're going to have in the detail near the title block. Those are all mounted at the required 16-foot maximum height. We have them interspersed throughout the property. There's probably close to a dozen of them. We are 0-foot candles at the property line. We are dark sky compliant, LED, high efficiency, all of the good stuff. We also have the ability on these to dim them toward the evening. What we don't want to do is leave this place lit up for residential use all night, for commercial use all night, right? The commercial uses will close at some point and the place does not need to be as bright. So we have the ability to dim them on a timer to the required minimum for security lighting, which I believe, if I recall, is 1-foot candle. So we can adjust these and be efficient and make it kind of blend in a little bit better. And then aside from that, if we go to the landscape plan, there will be some revision to the landscape plan based on some of Paul's comments. I'll hold for just a minute while we pull that up.
Is that part of the full plan?
That was part of the full plan
Okay.
set. Yeah, it was toward the end of the set.
Okay, it's coming.
Right before the detail sheets. I think it's number 6. This looks right to me. Yes, that is the landscape plan. So without getting into all of the details, we've interspersed some trees throughout where we can, a lot of ground cover, a lot of shrub, and we try to add some color In the front, along the street frontage, certainly I think we want to make an effort, based on some of Paul's comments, to add a little bit more along the building front, along the face of the buildings, to get some color in there, closer to the building and things like that. We've also opted, because we're on Route 123, we need to provide some sort of a screen along the frontage, so we've opted with a hedge, a continuous hedge along the frontage in that location, to satisfy that requirement.
Anyone have any plans, questions specific to lighting or landscaping plan while we have Mr. Dias up here?
I was just wondering, is there going to be any fencing or anything on the right side? Because I know there's another business on the other side, on the other property to the right.
On the right property line, I don't think there's a current plan for that, but if there's a need, I think that's something that we can probably take a look at.
Mr. Chair.
Bridget?
I had a question actually earlier that I just remembered. It's off of that. Paul, or you or someone, do you know how close it is to that other building? Like, I don't know.
If you go to a different sheet, I think if you go to sheet C2, I don't think I have an exact dimension, but it shows the building. So you can.
Oh,
at
yeah,
least
I see that. Okay.
Clean. Yes.
Yeah.
So just guesstimating from that, that building's probably 15 to 20 feet from the property boundary.
Okay.
So we've probably got 30 feet or so between the two buildings.
Okay, thank you.
And that building actually has no, it turns its back on this
Yeah.
site. So it's a blank wall back
Yeah.
there.
Well, it's side. People still go in the front of bagels and cream.
I'm not criticizing it.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's certainly
it
not
has
the
a lot
front.
of,
Yes.
it has its,
Yes.
on the frontage, it works great.
So open up to the board, any questions on the project for the entirety? I know, Steve, you've got one in the queue here.
All right, so I got the big one. Now I've talked to Paul about this, and I've mentioned it for other projects in this district overall. This is a top-of-the-shop project, and there's a precedent here. Our zoning use table says that multifamily is not permitted as a use in this district. There are residential uses that are permitted in this district, like a fraternity, or a tourist home, or a bed and breakfast. But specifically, single-family homes, duplexes, multifamilies, nursing homes are not permitted. One of the precedents of this, if we say that top of the shop means that any form of residential can be on the top, that means throughout the entire village center core and the village commercial, any type of residential can go on the top of any building going forward, and without any limit to how many units. If there were a large property that were bought, let's say Bog Iron or something like that, or even a couple properties in a row were bought, there would be nothing to stop this board from preventing that developer from putting 100, 200, 500 units under this precedent. Secondly, there is nothing that defines what kind of residential use goes on top or what kind of non-residential use goes on the bottom. So we're proposing retail on the bottom, but can a gas station go on the bottom? Because top of the shop is allowed by right and a non-residential use is allowed on the bottom. What kind? What defines what kind goes on the bottom? And is that the same mechanism that defines what can go on the top?
So I know, personally speaking, from when this zone was created, when the VCC was created, I was on the subcommittee, and we completely intended for the top floors, as I said before, to be residential. Whether it's a mistake in how it was written, mistake in the bylaw, as we have many, it's on a long list to correct, but I do believe it was 100% the intent, and I believe that's what the presentation at town meeting intended and or showed. Tim, you were on the board at the time. Am I misspeaking or misremembering?
No, I think that was the intention, but I think we've discussed, I think, with Steve that this is not clear as written.
Could I
as we
go-
went through the whole recodification process, we know how that went.
Could I go one step further? Because I wanted to do my research and correct myself if I'm wrong. I wanted to see what you guys actually said in those past meetings and in the town meeting, the presentation that Paul made. The word multifamily was not mentioned once in the presentation that Paul presented. But it did say single families and duplexes are not allowed specifically. It also said gas stations are not allowed, etc. It did explain some stuff. It did not mention the words multifamily.
In any of our meetings?
It may be in the meetings, but not in the presentation. But in the language that was passed at town meeting, it explicitly says that multifamily is not permitted. And that is what the town residents read and voted for.
Right.
But again, if we are to assume, and I get the intention, we do want several units on top of a business. That's great. I get that. But unlimited amounts of units? If somebody comes in and builds a small thing, they just put a little 2,500 square foot store on the bottom, they can now squeeze in 1,000 units by right. The only thing having this meeting happen right now is that they're in a special wetland district. This is a very important precedent that we are setting here.
In which we've already done with another project we've already approved. In
I
this
voted
zone.
no on
But
that.
I know, but I'm saying the board has already approved another project.
And this one's getting bigger. And is it going to get bigger? And is it going to spread through the entire village commercial? Because that's also top of the shop by right.
Correct. Any landowner can propose anything, but they still have to abide by setbacks and heights and widths and
Parking and stormwater. I mean, I would be careful to say it's unlimited. That is not the case, as you know. I mean, there are these other factors. I mean, other than the MBTA zoning, our bylaw does not include any density, and that's what we were working off of when we did Village Center Core. So the other thing with Village Center Core is we kept saying throughout the process was top of the shop is a new use that we have here. It allows residential above the first floor. What we were trying to do with Village Center Core was to exclude simply residential uses, solely residential uses, because we were really trying to jumpstart commercial development in this area. And again, 5 years ago, were we thinking top of the shop was going to become what we're seeing right now? I wish I were that smart, but I have to say I'm happy, because when I see these projects, I go, this is exactly what we were thinking when we did it. And even in the case of the density issue, village commercial, which probably has definitely has larger parcels to it, other than the one extra floor, also does not have a specific dwelling units per acre.
But it doesn't have a dwelling units per acre, but just several years ago, the village commercial and a couple of our other districts also had increasing lot sizes when you added more units. Where I think the village commercial, it went from 18,000 to 26 to 30 something thousand square. Like just to get up to 3 units, we needed 30,000 square feet or more.
Right.
So there was an increasing. It's just in the last several years that we've decided that there's no limitations here.
Well,
And again, the precedent here is that the entire village center core and the village commercial is now as many units as anybody can put on top. They're allowed to do, as long as they put some non-residential use. It doesn't have to be commercial, but a non-residential use on the bottom. Or even their own HOA room, an office for their own HOA could be a non-residential use on the bottom.
it could.
So unlimited units above and their own HOA office on the bottom.
Well, I would say
We
you're
have to look at what's in front of us and not
Right.
speculate.
right.
I'm not speculating. That is exactly what
No, I
this
mean-
ruling is, and I think it's important. What is in front of us, in my opinion, whether it was intended or not, is not allowed in the district.
Now, just to say, as one of the developers of this was exactly what we were hoping for.
And I can specifically remember with pictures during some of the meetings of some of the newer buildings at the time on Mansfield Center that have top of the shop, and maybe the ones near the train station. I'm trying to remember we had a bunch of different examples from a bunch of different surrounding towns of top of the shop and how different towns were treating it. And I know we referenced or looked at other towns' bylaws at the time. I'm sure none of our bylaws are perfect, and as this one is subpar, not subpar, but needs work as they all do, which I think is on the long list of work that we need to accomplish at some point.
Again.
Mr. Chair, can I address that?
Yes.
So, just to echo what Paul said, there are limits here, 4 stories and 60 feet. And there are also limits when you're in an overlay district. So those things would apply, and I would respectfully suggest that no one could put 500 or 1,000 units and still be below 60 feet and 4 stories. But more importantly, the issue of precedent is one that is, I could tell you I've looked at this extensively. You might ask town council if you need to, but in zoning, there is no such thing as precedent. Every project stands on its own merits, and it is within your discretion to determine whether the project meets the standards that you have to apply. So if you approve 39 units here, it doesn't mean you have to approve 40 units somewhere else, anywhere else in the district. Every project stands on its own, and I would never stand here on another project and say, well, you approved this one, so you have to approve that one, because that is not the law.
You might try it though.
You would try it for sure.
Someone had to say it.
It's in your job
I
description,
realize that I'm an advocate, and I realize I'm paid to do what I do, but I also think there's something called credibility, and I hope that I have some measure of that before this board. So unless there are other questions, that's what we had for tonight.
I am good with my questions. Any member of the board have any other questions regarding anything else on this project for tonight? This, again, is going to be continued, so whatever questions come up in the meantime, we can either email them to Paul or save them to the next meeting. Preferably email them ahead of time if we come up with something, and give the applicant a chance to respond is the preferable way of doing it.
Yeah. I think just a general comment to what Mr. Jacoby mentioned earlier about the building commissioner. You can do what you will. My recommendation would be to get the CYA letter from the building commissioner in writing so you have it in your back pocket, and we can include it as part of our package.
I will draft something in the morning.
Jump right up.
You could pull that up, Paul, just the site plan, the one with the red drive-through.
Okay.
I just had a question for the board. Yeah, if you could scroll down. So part of the reason we shrunk that drive-through was because obviously you can, if you ever go to the drive-through in the Honeydew, it's kind of makes you want to go fast when you go by that drive-through. It's a nice angle to jump right on the road. So that's why we want to straighten it and narrow it a little bit to help with the school. The other part was I was looking at this last night, and we talked about the that building and the parking. And something I wanted to do that I wanted to run by you folks before we did it was the actual Honeydew building. You see where the seating area is to the right of it? Mm-hmm. I wanted to take the building and slide it all the way to the right more, get rid of the seating on the side and put it all along the front. Wanted to know what you folks thought about that before we did it. And when we do that, what it might do is pull that drive-through back and almost land right in the middle of the existing drive-through, but straight. Does that make sense?
I'm going to
Okay.
confess I did.
I'll try it again.
I understand
That
what
makes
you're
sense.
saying.
It's just-
100%.
So you basically rotate the patio 90 degrees in front of the building and use the extra space to shift the drive-through to the right.
The whole thing.
So take
Ish.
the building where it is right now,
Yeah.
slide it to the right, which would eliminate that seating area. And then all the seating would be in the front of the structure. And by moving that building to the right, picture that drive-through following it to the right. And then it'll line up almost where the drive-through is now. The curb cut is now. So it would
Oh.
kind of ease up a little bit with DOT, I'm hoping, if we can line it up straight. Also, it gets the order window a little bit closer to the back, and makes
Yeah.
all the seating in front. So when you're driving by, you can see.
I think you're going to want to have the conversation with the fire department first.
Gotcha,
Also,
okay.
making sure they don't want to get them engine through that turning lane, if you have to do anything there, that does make your possibility of having a bailout lane.
Yep.
If they require it. So I would definitely, before you change anything, run it by the fire department, would be my opinion, but I don't have an opinion either way of leaving it like this or moving it as you're saying. It definitely would make it easier for you with DOT though.
Yeah.
Right.
Outside of fire, I would just say from an operations standpoint, is that something that the franchisee would like or not? I'm not sure if putting seating right next to 123 is.
Most.
Are people going to want to sit there if it's right there?
That's where it is now, right? It's in front of.
It's
Yeah,
pretty.
But it's set
pretty
back.
far back.
But it's set back now.
And,
So
and we were going to do the same thing on the right side, so I guess I'll talk to them.
Yeah, I don't
as
know.
well,
I'm just
kind of
thinking.
extend that. Typically with fire, if it's that close, we'll discuss with fire.
yeah, no, I think they're the driving factor. I'm just thinking, would I want to sit there right next to the road, or would I prefer to sit a little bit further back? And
I agree.
depends if I want to actually hear the person I'm with, I guess.
I think 123 is better ambience than 140, though.
Yeah.
We do have one question for Paul. What would the time frame be to submit materials for the January 6th meeting?
Usually the week before,
The Thursday before at the bare minimum.
the Thursday before.
Which would be a holiday.
Which is
That's New Year's Day.
January 1st.
You want to do New Year's Eve?
It would be more like the 30th, I think.
I'm just looking at my professionals. Can you get stuff in by the 31st?
I mean, if you don't, we'll just ask for a continuance.
We'll ask for a continuance
Yeah,
if
we'll
we
just put
need
it on
to.
for the 6th for now. If we can't get there, you can't get
We
there.
just wanted to make sure that we didn't get stuff to you the day before and you say, oh my God, we didn't have enough time to look at it.
Right.
And if you did, we wouldn't be shy of saying we just got this and we haven't had time to digest it and we have to continue anyway.
So
Our
just
request is to continue to the 6th of January.
All right. Any other questions from the board? If not, we're going to go to questions and comments from the members of the public.
Good.
So if there's anyone in person or online that would like to speak about this project, please online on the Zoom app, please raise your digital hand. And I'll see if anyone is running to the microphone in person, which there isn't. And I am not seeing anyone online wishing to make a comment at this time. If there's no other questions from the board members, the chair would entertain a motion to continue to January 6th.
Motion to continue to January 6th.
Second.
We have a
We all gave the Zoom meeting another like 5 seconds, and then
Delay.
We have a motion by Rob and a second by Tim to continue SP 33 and SPR 18 for 61 West Main Street to January 6th. How do we vote? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Continued. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You as well.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year as well.
Aye.
That's right. We don't see you guys till next year.
Back to the top of our agenda, we have some minutes problems to clean up and or minutes to approve. I already told Brian, I'm sorry, I didn't even open the email, didn't even look at it.
Okay.
If everybody else wants to vote on it. Brian, do you want to explain the problem we're having? I know Tim chimed in on it at one point, I believe.
So currently, the town clerk's office had told me that the minutes were incomplete on the website, and so I just wanted to confirm with everybody that the minutes that are missing are approved, and if so, can we approve them now in case I don't remember the date or I didn't do it at all, in which case they would need to be voted upon.
They're in May and June.
I think for the ones that were from that missing block, I think I had shared at least documentation that we had gone through them like 6 at a time over a period of 4 or 5 meetings. And that those should be included in the records of those meetings.
Okay.
we just need them signed.
We need
I mean-
them signed, and we need the date for when they were approved.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to take them if we want to vote on them again, it doesn't hurt us to double vote on something.
Definitely doesn't
But
hurt.
I mean,
I just had to.
I know we did it because I overachieved and did like a whole spreadsheet to like, okay, let's do
remember.
these. Yeah, that's what all these minutes are.
And those are the only ones outstanding that we're talking about right now, or do we have additional ones that you've completed?
We have additional. They recorded up to a few from Nicole's era of being in my position, so we do have a few years.
So like I said, I didn't even look at it. If the rest of the board would like to vote on it tonight, we can. If not, we can put this off to the next meeting and just make sure we look at it for the next meeting, and we'll be expected to vote on it at the next meeting.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Rob?
Of the two that came today, the ones that came today, I actually recognize them as ones we have reviewed and approved before. I was even able to find my own personal notes on them. If that helps.
I believe you.
There were ones today?
There was a couple came in email.
I didn't see any today.
I have the ones from Friday.
Yeah,
Friday,
not
excuse
those.
me.
Okay.
I also have my
Alright, well.
emails today, okay?
That's fine.
I have
No, I
like
was-
9 email accounts.
That's what today. Did I miss
I was.
something?
I
I'm
also.
li-
Yeah.
Okay.
The ones Rob read.
I mean,
today.
I reviewed the ones that I was a part of, but I'm also okay just voting next time. So, doesn't matter.
So Brian, you want to just send us a reminder email with the next packet, or make it with the next packet out?
How far in advance for the next packet, though?
As soon as possible.
Tomorrow? Or is that too soon?
Can we list it as a specific agenda item?
Yes.
That way, when we're looking at the agenda, we'll very clearly know that this is something that we need to
Yep,
do.
spell out the exact, just like in the email, the exact meetings you want us to look at, put it on the agenda, then we can't forget it, overlook it, put it
Okay.
off anymore.
Well, if we do, then we have no excuse.
Correct.
That's really the
Yeah.
no. But all the ones in that set, I know we did do. But if we're gonna do it again, we can do it again.
Well, if we can confirm, and we will, that there are some that you've already voted on, I think it's just us, for whatever reason, there wasn't a signature. I think for those, we can confirm the date it was done. We would just need to get a signature, and we'll have to see when those meetings were to see who signs it.
And if it's
Yep.
just as easy, we can re-vote it,
Okay, sure.
if
Yeah.
you don't want to do that legwork.
Frank, you're sure getting off easy.
Do you have where I had, I think, reattached that spreadsheet like a few weeks ago? Do you have that, or do you want me to resend it?
You can resend it, Tim.
Okay. I know one of the dates, I think the meeting took too long and we put it off to the next meeting, but it's pretty close.
Other than the minutes, any other business needs to come before us tonight? Other than that, the chair would definitely entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you very much. We are adjourned to January 6th.